Welcome to the Wired for Success podcast, your show for ambitious, mission-driven entrepreneurs who want to build million-dollar businesses without sacrificing their health, relationships, or happiness, who understand that in order to build their empire, they need a solid foundation, and that the more they are thriving, the more their business is thriving too. This show brings you the very best from science, self-development, and entrepreneurship to set you up for sustainable success. Hi, I'm Claudia Garbutt, the scientist turned mindset and high-performance coach for entrepreneurs, and I help you get wired for success. This episode is brought to you by Pulsetto, the vagus nerve stimulator that biohacks your parasympathetic nervous system. Let's face it, we can't avoid stress in our lives, but we can learn how to handle it better. And in order to do that, we need to relearn how to switch our body's programming from the constant fight-or-flight mode back to the rest and repair mode. And you're probably thinking, that's certainly easier said than done when you A, don't have much time, and B, don't know how to do that. And that's where the Pulsetto device can be super helpful. It uses electrostimulation to help you activate your parasympathetic nervous system in as little as 4 minutes a day. 86% of users report feeling calmer and less stressed after using Pulsetto, and I can vouch for that. I've had some trouble with sleep, therefore I especially love the 10-minute sleep setting that helps me relax and fall asleep faster. And as we all know, good sleep is so important. So if you have trouble relaxing and you've been looking for a way to improve your sleep, why not give this a try? For more info, check out episode 208 of the podcast, in which I interview the co-founder of Pulsetto. And for a 10% discount on your order, go to pulsetto.tech/wiredforsuccess. That's pulsetto.tech/wiredforsuccess. Enjoy. Without further ado, let's dive into today's episode. Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Wired for Success podcast, where we talk about all things science, self-development, and entrepreneurship that help you get to that next level of success in your life and business. My guest today is Christian Høding, a former strategy consultant who, after experiencing stress and mental health challenges, decided that he wanted to help other like-minded people manage stress and prevent burnout. Christian has experience working for large pharmaceutical and consumer product companies and has seen how increased stress and mental health challenges have a big impact on the well-being and culture of companies. He has therefore made it his mission to help other people and companies avoid ending up in a similar situation as he was experiencing himself. So welcome, Christian, and thank you so much for taking the time to talk today.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Well, Christian, you've gone from experiencing severe stress and mental health challenges to becoming a leader helping others avoid burnout. Can you take us back to the turning point in your story when you decided something had to change?
Yeah, of course. Well, around 2.5 years ago, I finished my degree and had a lot of new things that were going my way that I had to figure out, what path am I going on. So I decided back there to go the consulting way. And I was definitely not feeling well when I started, but I managed to push through anyways. After experiencing a lot of the symptoms that people have when they have stress myself, and also finding techniques on how to manage them better, I figured out, well, I want to help other people prevent these things for themselves, so they don't end up in a similar situation where they can't sleep at night, where they're having a massive overthinking and panic attacks. So I started actually just investigating the problem myself. Was it a problem that I only experienced, or was it a problem that a lot of other people are experiencing? So I actually started interviewing both friends, family, and also people in my network. And what I very quickly figured out was this is a problem that not only I was facing, but a lot of other people. Then I started looking into what are the solutions out there in the market, and a lot of the companies are required, at least in Denmark, to have a social insurance, but they're not required to have any proactive initiatives to help their employees manage their mental health. So I started looking into that, figuring out, is there some kind of solution that helps on this? And what I quickly thought out was, well, there's no particular solution that I would have used myself back when I was struggling a bit. So start of last year, I decided to quit my job and start building that product and solution that I would have benefit from myself. So the turning point was actually when I start feeling better, when I had energy to also help other people and start talking with other people about this very important topic. That was the turning point.
That makes total sense. But what was it like for you to experience the burnout? So you already mentioned not being able to sleep, having panic attacks. So can you maybe share when it dawned on you that something was really, really wrong? Like what were those early warning signs and how did they develop over time? How long did it take?
Well, it starts with your sleep. Sleep is one of the most important pillars of the well-being of a person's life.
Mhm.
So when I start experiencing that, waking up in the middle of the night, start thinking about solutions and all different things, then I knew there was definitely something that I had to figure out. Why is this happening? So that was the first warning sign. The next warning sign is when you start having issues concentrating, because of course, if you don't get enough sleep, then it impacts your performance and your ability to focus. And then the third part is your cognitive abilities. So how good are you at solving complex problems? And when you start seeing that you have challenges solving previous fine problems, then you have something. You have a problem there. Let me phrase it like that. So there's something around things that you used to solve easily. If they're becoming very hard to solve, then
Mm.
then I think you have something that you have to consider. And that was what happened for me. I actually put too much on my plate, too many things that I wanted to achieve, without really prioritizing the most important first. So that's why I became super, super overwhelmed. And instead of just stopping and listening to these signs, then I pushed through. And that's obviously a learning I have taken with me to not do that necessarily, because pushing through is not the best option always. So listening to the signs that your body and brain gives you instead of just ignoring it.
Yeah, so important. So how long did this, let's say, downward spiral, how long did it last for you before you actually took a step back and maybe analyzed what was going on?
Well, I would say approximately 3 months, 4 months. Um, During those 4 months, it just became worse, in the
Mm.
sense that the sleep wasn't becoming better, concentration wasn't becoming better. It was only becoming worse, um, and it kept on doing that, until I made the decision to implement, or at least seek help, in the sense of partnering up with a coach that helped
Mm.
me, with techniques on how to, manage my life better. Prioritize what are the most important things that I have to do during a day, and also, you know, challenge me on what is it that really makes you happy, what is that really gives you energy, and do more of that. Because one thing that I experienced myself is when you start getting, uh, challenges with your mental health, you start uh, you start deprioritizing things that are actually giving you more energy, which is
Mm.
exercising regularly, meeting friends, doing cozy and fun stuff together with loved ones. That's things that you take out of the equation because you don't have the energy levels to be a part of it, and that is where the the equation goes wrong, because then it just goes negatively from there.
So true. Can you walk us through some of the most important steps you took to on your route to recovery, if you want?
Yeah. So the first step is admit that you have something that's
Hmm.
not going your way and seek help. Talk about it. So that was where I seeked a coach that helped me on this path. And then after doing that, sit down and make a list of things that makes you happy. Because if you have a list of those things and you know they give you energy, keep on doing them. Even though they're hard in the beginning, they become easier and easier as you go along. And that's what I realized, was that, doing more things that actually gives me energy, even though it requires me to take time aside, it will benefit me in the long term. You don't realize it when you're in it, but after being in it for a while, you figure out these are actually some very beneficial steps.
Yeah, you definitely have to do those. So what were some of, say, the most surprising things you learned about yourself during your recovery process?
Well, when you start waking up in the middle of the night, it's not for fun, and you can't really control why you're doing it, and you can't really do something immediate to change that. It takes time. When you're in it, it takes time for you to get out of it. And I basically just realized that you got to do more stuff that doesn't drain you.
Yeah, it's all about energy and managing your energy.
Absolutely.
As an entrepreneur, what would you say are the mindset shifts that were really crucial for you to build a business that balances ambition with well-being?
I mean, I think we all people who are part of the entrepreneurship community, they want to create something for other people. They want to make it big, and they want to make that funding round that makes you wealthy. But often getting that point in a short amount of time is often not realistic. But we all set these high ambition, high goals with the expectation of getting the reward within 1 year. I've shifted it. So instead of thinking that I need to achieve those big glorious ambitions throughout 1 year of running a company, then I say to myself, the purpose and goal that I'm working on with my company, if it's 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, if I can see myself in that purpose and mission, and I also have the ability to be with my friends, my loved ones, then I'm on the right path. And if I also give myself space enough to do good stuff for myself, so prioritize my mental health through sauna goos, cold exposure, breath work. If I'm able to do those things simultaneously when I build my business with the right goal and mission, then I'm doing something that works for me. But as soon as I'm not able to do those great stuff for myself, as I'm on the path of creating a big business, then I know for myself, based on my own experience, that I have to do something. I have to sit down and rethink what I'm doing. Because yes, we all want to achieve those ambitious, glorious goals that makes us acknowledged by everyone. But if it compromises the mental health of this individual, myself, then it's not really worth it. Because then you can spend a lot of time after you've received the funding, after you receive the buyout, getting back on track and getting healthy again. And I've learned it the hard way that, I would rather focus on my mental health daily than having to focus on it, extremely hard when it really hits the fan, and I'm not sleeping at night, and I'm not exercising regularly. So that is my key learning. Have those elements in your workday that makes you happy, that gives you energy. If it's exercising, if it's breathwork, if it's sauna goos, just make it a prioritization to have that as a part of your regular day. while you also work hardly on your
Mm.
ambitions to create something meaningful for companies, for users.
Yeah, that's so true. It's all about this incremental progress and really building this solid foundation for sustainable growth, because that's what really matters. You
and
can't
stop
be.
and, and stop comparing yourself to others,
Yes.
because I also do that sometimes. But when I then look in and see how long time they have been in the game compared to myself, then I'm like, okay, they've been in the game for 7 years, and the outcomes they are getting right now, I'm comparing the outcomes with myself, and I've been in the
Yeah.
game for a way shorter time. So give
Hmm.
yourself the ability to focus on what you're doing right now instead of constantly compare yourself to those billionaire exiting their software company within first try, because that is definitely not the default.
No, it's not. And those people, they struggle with things as well. You just might not be able to see that on their social media profiles.
Yeah, absolutely. We're showcasing all the success stories instead of putting light to the struggles. I mean, I see it more often now that a lot of entrepreneurs are putting more focus and emphasis on on the journey instead of the outcomes from the journey. And I think that's truly good to do that.
Yeah. I think that's so important because I think in the end, the process of entrepreneurship really shapes you and it hopefully changes you for the better. And I think that's what we should all aim for. So what advice would you give to a mission-driven entrepreneur in the early stages of their journey who are already feeling overwhelmed? Because as we said, this is a roller coaster of a journey and it can be so overwhelming, especially in the beginning. So what do you recommend?
Well, something as simple as just showing gratitude to yourself. It sounds very basic, but I do it daily myself. Is what is it that I have achieved today that I'm very happy that I achieved? It could be anything. Instead of focusing on all the holes in the cheese, I focus on all the positive things that I've achieved today. They can be small and big, and that makes my mindset. It makes a mindset shift that
Hmm.
instead of focusing on all the things that I haven't done, I focus on all the small and great things that I've done today, and that makes me as an entrepreneur, also in an early stage company, more grateful for all the things that are going our way, and it's also a way for me to recognize some of the good things that we have to do more of, and maybe also recognize some of the other things that we have to do less of. So
Hmm.
my most simple recommendation to entrepreneurs in a similar stage as mine, just start to be grateful for those things that are actually going away instead of focusing all the ones that you're not experiencing right now and you're not acknowledging and accomplishing right now. So that's one thing, and I don't know if this works for all, but explore new knowledge,
Mm.
because in the early stage you don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers, but I try to learn new things and be open towards learning and failing. And I do that occasionally by going to events, attending podcasts, reading books, listening to podcasts, because that gives me a new perspective, and it also shows me that I'm not the only one struggling as an early stage founder. There's a lot of people out there that are having the same difficulties, but you can actually save a lot of time by listening to podcast founders who have done the same mistakes, who've been on the same path as you, and instead of you making the same mistakes again as they did, you can learn
Mhm.
from what they did otherwise.
So true. Now, you have seen firsthand how stress affects the culture of large companies. What systemic changes do you think organizations need to prioritize for a healthier workplace?
Well, I mean, it all starts with the leader. Do they foster a psychological safety where the employees feel safe enough to share both the ups and downs? That's one step. That's obviously something about the culture. I do also believe that, if you're a large company, um, if the only method you're using to check in with your employees is one-on-one meetings, then those one-on-one meetings become probably not so effective, because if you have to speak with all your employees through this method, then it may not be enough to actually have the employees share what they're really feeling. That's why I'm a strong believer that other things are needed, such as ours, of course, because giving your employees an option to prioritize their own health as a part of being an employee at your company is very important, and it also signals to your employees that you are very serious about them, and you prioritize that their well-being is in top. So of course, a bit of a shift around the psychological safety. If that's not in place, then you should start there, because no digital tool will help solve the problem of companies of employees not sharing to their managers. So start with the point around psychological safety. Do your employees feel comfortable sharing both ups and downs? And then I would implement some kind of daily, it could be weekly, it could be monthly check-in through as simple as either a survey or something digital, because as a manager, it's also a very complex task to help all of your employees with their mental health. You're not you don't have a degree as a psychologist, so it's also a matter of setting the manager up for success. Because if the manager is not set up for success to help his or her employees, then it's also a struggle for them.
Yeah, for sure. What is some of the daily habits or rituals that have helped you maintain balance and focus while running your business?
Gratitude, or just noting down on my phone or my notepad 3 things that I'm grateful or happy for that I achieved today. It could be all things. Second thing is regular breath work. So it can 5 to 12 minutes a day can really make a difference in shifting your mindset from looking at all the negative things to actually being able to shift away from that and just be a little bit more present. And the third thing is exercise. Exercise. And if I were to mention a fourth thing, it would be proper sleep, because I know what the opposite does for you, both in terms of your cognitive abilities, your energy levels, and how you're also being towards your friends, family, and loved ones. So that's the fourth thing. So sleep, breath work, gratitude, and exercise.
What type of breath work do you do?
I do box breathing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's something that I couldn't do in the beginning, but now I would say fairly experienced in it. But I'm only experienced in it because I seek help from people who really know their stuff, and I can only advise people to do that. I definitely didn't think that I would be practicing breath work daily 2.5 years ago, but you always get wiser.
Yeah, it's so helpful. And what does your exercise routine look like?
Well, I do running, and I do high rocks training. High rocks is just a very great way of you know having endurance combined with uh, more push training upper body. So you combine running with basically high intense training exercises.
Interesting. And what does your diet look like? Because nutrition is also a very important pillar, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely something that I would like to improve and maybe also, uh, I'd say, look more on. But I'm regularly eating salad. That's one thing. I also try to get enough protein, but I must admit I'm not like a super strict on my diet. I also give myself space and freedom to have a pizza occasionally or a burger. So I'm not
Sure.
like super strict on that, but I try to eat as healthy as possible, combining with the exercises.
Yeah, I think it's good to not be too strict when it comes to your diet, because after all, food is should still be fun in my opinion. So I'm totally fine with that. In a
But
world,
I've actually experienced that eating a bit more salad at lunch actually um, reduces the chances of me not burning out but just having a crash. So I've
hmm,
actually seen how eating more salad and fruit is actually having a positive impact on my productivity. And I can also see it from the data I have from our own service and our own platform that it actually also is showing in the numbers.
that's a great thing. Good for you. Now, in a world obsessed with achievement, how do you personally define success? And has that definition shifted over the years, or has it stayed pretty constant for you?
Um, well, I think success for me means that I have time and energy to spend time with people I love. That's one part of my success definition. Second part of my success definition is working with something that I find meaningful. That where I have the ability to help other people become better, feel better, and make an impact for them. Um, and the third part of my success definition is, of course, also being able to live a life where I don't have to think so much about the financial aspects of it. That's obviously also something that I'm driven of. It's not the only thing that defines my success, but of course I'm also looking into to running a business that is sustainable and that gives me my ability to live my life and have vacations, experiences, and yeah, live
It's
life.
all, it's all important, right? Now, where do you see the future of mental health and wellness going, especially for entrepreneurs and high performance teams?
Well, the simple answer is that luckily right now we're seeing a big trend among health that is not only in companies or private people, but it's especially also something that entrepreneurs is seeing the urgency of, because they know when you're an entrepreneur, you're kind of the core of the service, and if you're not feeling well, then you're not performing well. And if you're having all these negative thoughts, then that obviously also impacts your energy levels, your mood, and also how you engage with people. So I think where we are shifting towards is that health in general is becoming a big priority, not only for individual people working in a company setting, but especially within entrepreneurship, because you cannot you cannot run a business for years if you're not feeling well. Of course, there will be some periods where things are more tough, but the importance here is that you know how to manage it and how to get back on track. Because I know for sure there will be some times where there'll be more work to be done, but as long as you have created some method and techniques for yourself that you know works for you personally, and you keep on doing them, then you can be in it for a longer time, and it can also be much more sustainable for you and the people you work with. So I think it's not only entrepreneurship, but health is just an important element of everyone's life. and their ability to be there for their loved ones, their ability to perform at work and do meaningful stuff. That answer your question?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and I totally agree. I mean, as an entrepreneur, especially, you are your company. So if you're not doing well, your company is probably not doing well either. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners today?
Mm,
Or
well,
did we cover everything?
maybe another thing. So I'm guessing some of the listeners are both entrepreneurs, but they are also entrepreneurs. So people that would like to go that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my biggest advice here is that I used to be the entrepreneurs. I
Mm-hmm.
used to be thinking so much about it, talking so much about it. But at the end of the day, if you don't have a plan and sit down and probably figure out how to do that and how to go that way and follow that idea, then it won't happen. So my best advice is if you have a dream, maybe not the idea yet, but you have a dream of helping other people through your own startup or working in a startup with other co-founders, just do it. Just do it. It won't. It would be the best way for you to figure out if that's the path you want to go on, and it will be the most rewarding thing to remind yourself daily that, well, right now the money doesn't flow, but it will come, and you work on something that you can see yourself in. It's your own business, and you are in control of um, most of the things that needs to be done in order for you to move one step further. So that's at least something that I remind myself of. I'm super grateful that I managed to get out of the safe and secure and very great job that I had to doing something that I've always dreamt of helping people with mental health, manage it better, and also have a great life.
Yeah, I think you're totally right there. I think the things we regret most are the things we did not do. So you better try them and see if they work out. If they don't, it's probably not the end of the world, but you don't want to be the person thinking, like looking back on your life and thinking, what if? What would have happened?
And also, if you decide to do it, this is specifically for entrepreneurs. If you decide to do it, don't half-ass it. Don't
Hmm.
half-ass it. Go all in. Figure out if this is the right path for you. If the problem you're trying to solve is something that people are willing to buy and pay for, and if they also find it valuable. Figure that out and go all in on it. You can go all in many ways without burning yourself out if you have the awareness of proper techniques in your life to sustain a healthy level of energy and also balance or whatever we call it, then then you're on the right path. But you need to figure out ways that help you relax and rewind, because you can't go 200 kilometers an hour all the time. You need that break, and that's also why I implemented the techniques of going to sauna and cold exposure. But that is something that if you ask most entrepreneurs these days, they know of it because most people have experienced it, and they also can see the benefits of doing that regularly because it also helps them a lot.
Yeah, it's an investment in yourself.
Absolutely.
And and last but not least, where can our listeners find you online if they would like to learn more about you or your work or just connect with you?
So you can find me on LinkedIn, and you can find my company Hurt.io on LinkedIn as well, and feel free to reach out to me. I would gladly share some of my learnings and also some of the techniques I use myself. If that could help just one person, then I'm really grateful for that. So feel free to reach out to me if there's anything I can do. Otherwise, really appreciate being invited to such a cool podcast, and hopefully being able to also share some learnings that others can benefit from.
Perfect. Christian, thank you so much for sharing your story and your insights with us today. It's been really great talking with you. So keep up the great work, take care, and talk soon. Bye.
I will. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Wired for Success podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, please take a sec to rate and review my show or share it with a friend. That way you can support the show and help me reach and support other entrepreneurs like yourself as well. If you would like my help to figure out how you can go from overwhelmed and overworked hustler to empowered and confident leader, check out my website at www.wiredforsuccess.solutions and book a free 20-minute strategy session with me. Can't wait to help you get wired for success. Until next time, take care. Bye.